So as you can see there on the screen, our guy Tszyu is going to be returning on April the 6th. Here in the States, you'll be able to watch it on Prime Video. Over in Australia, they're doing you guys dirty because, as you can see, it's $70 for him to face Joey Spencer. And this is the same Tszyu, as you can see here on the screen, that's coming off two back-to-back losses. One to Sebastian Fundora, I guess you can say literally a year ago on March the 30th. Right now, which March is 11:30 p.m. March the 28th. So a year ago, he returned in October to face Bakram Murtazaliev to try to capture the IBF title and got the shit beat out of him. By the way, Sebastian Fundora returned last week against Cordell Booker, also on Amazon Prime, and he looked like he looked good. He went out there and did a demolition job. He fought like a champion, defending his WBC and WBO title. But now you have Tszyu, who is fighting a well-known, long-time PBC fighter in Joey Spencer Jr. Now, here's the thing about Joey Spencer. He's not a journeyman. He's not a bum. He actually has a nice, solid skill set. And here's the thing. He's only got one loss. However, he does have from my understanding, if I remember correctly, I don't remember what fight it was, but he does have a gift decision or a controversial win on his record. But he's only lost one time, 19-1 with 11 KOs, and he's only 25 years old. Now, I'm going to go ahead and say, just like Bakram Murtazaliev, do not be surprised if Joey Spencer put on a better performance than people think. So this fight right here has a lot of meaning because basically, if Tszyu loses, it's over for him. And for Joey Spencer, for American fans who know him, and he's very well known in American boxing, if he loses, then it's going to be pretty much, he's going to be a underachiever because he was supposed to be really, really on the top of the 154 or 160 pound division by now. But he's had some roadblocks, inactivity, and basically never really was able to get over the hump. So Tszyu, if he does win, is supposed to go on and fight Keith Thurman, who beat up Brock Jarvis just about a month ago, knocked him out, and they're going to really try to force Tszyu versus Keith Thurman. And I'm guessing, Big J, you think they're likely going to do that fight in Australia, aren't they? That makes the most sense.
Yeah, I believe the plan is to have it in sometime in July.
Mm-hmm.
That is the plan. If Tim gets over Joey Spencer next weekend at Newcastle, the plan is to have Thurman versus Tszyu sometime in July. I think it's the 11th or something, because might be the 13th, because No Limit have already announced the next 3 or 4 pay-per-views. They've got an event June 11th in Cairns, and then the next one after that is supposed to be Thurman versus Tszyu.
Okay.
Their July pay-per-view event. So it might even be July 6th. They did put out a social media post about it, but I can't remember the exact date, but it's sometime in July.
Yeah, I think July 6th. That sounds familiar. So what do you think about Joey Spencer as an opponent?
Well, I don't absolutely bugger all about him. Who did he lose to? Was it Erickson Lubin he lost to?
Hold on. No, wait a minute. Let me check real quick. It wasn't Lubin. It was Jesus Ramos. Got knocked out.
Jesus Ramos. James Ramos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Jesus Ramos ain't no slouch.
Yeah, that was a big crossover fight for him. For both of them.
I think Joey Spencer will be a very good measuring stick to see where Tim is at. But like George Kambosos last week, Tim needs a knockout statement to say that he's definitely back in the mix, because if he just gets a mediocre win like George did the other day, it's not going to look good for him.
Yeah, especially since, I'm going to say this, Joey Spencer is no Jake Wiley. However, Australian fans and really mainstream casual fans don't know who Joey Spencer is, but I'm telling you, he's well known in boxing circles. It's just that his name don't ring any bells. So as I'm saying, I'm not gonna give Tszyu no shit if he goes 12 rounds with him. In fact, I'm gonna give him major praise if he goes out there and stops Joey Spencer, to be very honest. That's how highly I rate Joey Spencer. Now, I'm not saying Joey gonna win. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying, like, he's not somebody to be played with. He's a serious an opponent for Tszyu. And as you used to always call Tszyu before, as far as him being a vulture, this is a young fighter just entering his prime. He's only 25 years old. He's been around forever. And also, for those who want to see him, many of his fights are available on the PBC YouTube channel, because he's been on plenty of free TV cards over here, headlining prelims and everything, leading into pay-per-views on our free TV Fox network.
Yeah, that's good, because it's really the ideal opponent for Tim at this stage. He's not picking on some blown up welterweight or some long in the tooth fighter that's been around for 15 years. He's picking a young kid coming into his prime that he needs to make an example of. So I've always said, since the fight's been announced, it's the perfect opponent for Tim to get him back into the winner's circle.
Mm-hmm.
He needs the knockout, but whether or not he gets it's another story. But then again, if he tars him up for 12 rounds and just beats the absolute dog shit out of him, it's going to look good. But, as we say, a statement's only a statement when someone's laying on the canvas and the ref waves it off. So that's what he needs, but whether he gets is nothing. And if you remember, Tim hasn't, if you look at the pure 154s at his 40, he hasn't knocked out any of them.
Yeah.
He didn't knock out Joel Camilleri. He didn't knock out Dwight Ritchie. He didn't knock out Inouye. He didn't knock out Terrell Goucher. He didn't knock out anybody.
No. Remember, he got Tony Harrison and Ocampo.
Yeah, but Tony Harrison was Tony Harrison that was his retirement fight.
Yeah.
And Ocampo, that was. Compo was nothing.
Yeah,
special.
quietly,
So,
I guess you can say that is Tony Harrison, because it's been over 2 years now since that fight.
Exactly, and that was just Tony was just cashing out and calling it a day. So, so Tony was, and Ocampo. Well, has anyone heard from him since? Not really.
No.
So
I don't think he's fought since then. I think he has actually fought since then. Yeah, he's fought a couple fights since then. Came back, 2 knockouts against low level top competition. An 8-7 guy and a 17-10, both down in Mexico.
Yeah, but Tim really needs to get a solid, impressive win.
Also, he needs it for his confidence. And I remember you brought up the possible psychological issues he may have with that cut.
Exactly.
How is he going to be when he gets into that ring? Being knocked out, having the shit beat out of him, because now he knows he can't just walk through people's punches anymore.
That's right. And also, and many people say this, that the 154 is the most stacked division in boxing.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got at least, you could rack off 12 blokes that could be world champions?
Yeah, and that's not counting the guys that could potentially move up from 147, yeah.
So what? You've got Crawford,
and by the way, Crawford has confirmed that he's planning on, if he beats Canelo at 168, that he will be going back down to 154. So yeah, you got Bakary Murtazaliev, Crawford, Eunice Tellez, Sebastian Fundora, Virgil Ortiz, Xander Zayas, Charles Conwell, Josh Kelly, Jesus Ramos, Erickson Lubin, Sergey Bahuchuk, and yeah, the list goes on.
There's a good dozen blokes that could at any time be world champion.
Yeah.
So it's not like all the other divisions where there's only like 5 or 6 guys at the top. 154's got a dozen blokes at the top.
Well, I'm glad that he's trying to stick to it as far as staying at 154. So what do you think ideally the plan, what do you think, okay, let's say in a perfect world Tim Tszyu keeps winning. Who does he fight after he beats Joey Spencer? Keith Thurman? And then if he beats Keith Thurman, who does he go after then?
He should get after Fundora for his fucking rematch that bloody Fundora screwed him out of.
Yeah, and by the way, Fundora has been ordered to fight top-ranked Xander Zayas. I'm not really high on him, young kid, but yeah.
I don't know. I mean, Xander Zayas. I mean, the problem is that since the Tim Tszyu fight, Fundora's finally used his jab and used his reach to his advantage. It's changed completely now.
Yeah.
Because that Tszyu fight forced him to change because he was such an 6'5" and being an inside fighter. What's he fucking stupid? He's finally figured out that he can use his long reach and just keep people off him.
And that's exactly what he did against Cordell Booker. That's straight dominating him with the jab and just used his height and his size. He actually, you're right. He's using his size for what he's supposed to be using it for.
Exactly, because if you remember the first 3-4 rounds of that fight, he still tried to fight on the inside of Tim, like he was going to walk right into an uppercut and get knocked the fuck out.
Yeah.
So he's finally figured out, oh shit, I've got these long, what's he got, like 80-inch reach or something?
Something crazy like that, yeah.
He's like, oh, I finally used my reach. I'm like, you should have done that 10 fights ago. But anyway, he's changed his whole style. That's the problem is that Fundora is not the fighter that he was 4 fights ago, where he was the inside fighter where you could easily knock him the fuck out or crush his ribs in.
Yeah.
Now he actually uses his distance, so he's going to be very, very hard to get at now. So, he needs to have that Fundora rematch, because Fundora knows that if it wasn't for that cut, Tim would have knocked him the fuck out.
Yeah, because you know what they can do because if perfect world for Tszyu, he goes on to beat Spencer, then goes on to beat Tszyu.
You mean Thurman?
I mean, well, he beats Spencer, then he goes on to beat Thurman. Depending on, the thing about PBC fighters, they bullshit around too much, because with Fundora, you know, the last time he fought was last year, before Booker, last year against Tszyu. But with PBC, man, you know, he should be able to get back out there in August, and then him and Tszyu fight. You know, later this year, the very end of this year, or the very beginning of the next year. You know, get it like.
PBC have this thing where they only fight once a year. I mean, no wonder their fighters are bloody broke.
Yeah.
They're not active enough.
Yeah, and you know, not only did Fundora's team screw Tszyu over, but Fundora got screwed over too, because he could have fought Terrence Crawford. He was waiting around, bullshitting around for Errol Spence, and now look, he ended up fighting on, losing the momentum that he had from beating Tszyu, goes on to go fight Cordell Booker in some sparse arena. You know,
some club show.
Exactly. And here's the thing: Fundora said many times that he wanted Terrence Crawford and that he wanted the rematch, but his team, who, by the way, his team is under fire too. The same team that's managing David Benavidez. David Benavidez they're trying to keep him away from the Saudis, pretty much. But long story short, you know, let me tell you what it feels like. It feels like that if Fundora if the Saudis get their hands on Fundora, that his team knows it's over for them. You know, that he don't need them anymore. And the same thing with David Benavidez. So they've been trying to keep these bullshit in-house fights, but PBC don't got the money like they used to. You know, in fact, that, you know, when you really look at it, over here in the States, let me tell you what they're trying to do. They're trying to market this Tszyu Spencer fight as a PBC event. But in reality, it's a no-limit event. PBC just has the broadcasting rights. You know, I mean, for crying out loud, they couldn't even give Keith Thurman no time here in the States. So you know, they're trying their best to hold on, but it's just not working. You know, so Fundora needs to stop bullshitting around, and there's no reason why him and him and Zaya shouldn't fight in August, September, and him and Tszyu fight at the very end of the beginning of the year next year.
Exactly. I mean, PBC have been hanging on by their fingertips for the last. Actually, I know I can pinpoint the part where PBC went to shit is when Tyson Fury kicked the shit out of Deontay Wilder.
Yep, it was all downhill from there, and then Errol Spence going on to get his ass beat. It was over then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was the beginning of the end when Fury Wilder 2. That's when was that? That was 2020, wasn't it? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, Fundora was on that undercard when he kicked the shit out of what was the Australian kid's name? Fuck, I can't remember his name now. He beat Tszyu in the amateurs.
Hold on, Daniel Lewis.
That's him.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he beat Daniel Lewis. So, so that's when PBC started. That's when that was the beginning of the end for PBC.
Because that's the only, you know, he's staying at 154 pounds. That's the only way to go. You know, and I don't think that, let me tell you what I think that they would do. They would rather go and fight Fundora before they go back and try to go after Bakr and Murtazaliev again. And we don't know what he's doing. I will not be surprised. I'm just waiting for the Saudis to snatch him up, because PBC can't do it. They don't have the money for him.
That's right.
I'm waiting for the Saudis to snatch him up, because something's going to have to happen with him, because already he's on a significant layoff. He don't have no motion. He's not linked to be fighting anybody.
Exactly. What's the name of that lady that provides him? Kathy
Duva.
Not our main event. Surely she must be bloody doing some deals with somebody.
She's got to be because her promotional company has been decimated over the last several years. You know, at one point she had Dmitry Bivol, Sergey Kovalev, you know, Jean Pascal. Like she had a huge stable. So hers, like whatever left of her boxing promotional company is Bakhram Murtazaliev. You know, so she's
Saudis will save her in one hit.
exactly. So that's why, you know, and that's what I see it going. You know, she's not a stupid woman. I've met her, interviewed her, you know, and she will follow the money. She's not going to sit and bullshit around with PBC. So something's going on behind the scenes. And do not be surprised if you see Bakhram Murtazaliev versus Sergey Bahuchuk. That I have a feeling that that's going to come. Also, Erickson Lubin's going to be fighting to be the mandatory as well in the next couple of weeks or so.
Didn't he already have that fight?
No, did it happen? Was that last week? I would have covered that. Let me check real quick.
Erickson Lubin's already had that fight, hasn't he? Or did it get canceled?
No. It's May the 10th.
I thought he already fought.
He didn't. Yeah, because I just saw the media workout. No, it's May the 10th. No, he hasn't fought since September of 2023 when he got beat up by Jesus Ramos. Well, actually, Ramos. A lot of people felt Ramos won, but yeah.
He got screwed.
Yeah.
Ramos got screwed. Ramos won that fight.
But yeah, he hasn't fought. And look, that's another fighter, PBC fighter. And by the way, Erickson Lubin versus Andrea Holmes. I got that on the screen. It's going to be May the 10th to be the IBF mandatory for Bakhram Murtazaliev. That's going to be free on YouTube. ProBox TV. That should tell you something right there.
Well, it doesn't matter because either of those guys, Bakhram would kick the shit out of anyway.
Yeah,
so it makes no difference.
Yeah.
They're just going to be lambs to the slaughter. So.
Yeah.
So, but as I said, man, you know, Bakhram will just pretty much, he's got to stay active.
Yeah.
He's got to stay active. Stay active, he'll just annihilate the entire fucking division. So.
Yeah. So what are we looking at on this? What are we looking at on this undercard? What fights are we looking for?
Running through them because I haven't got.
I see. You got what is it? Cohen. How do you pronounce his name again? Mazoudier.
Cohen Mazoudier. Yeah,
okay, there you go. Dan Hill.
That's a good fight. That is a good fight.
Andre Mikhailovich returns against Blake Wells.
Yeah, Wells. Yeah, that'll be a good fight. That'll
you
be
know,
a good fight as well.
Colin Peters taking on a William Lenahan.
That's the Olympian bloke.
You got a Brett Walton. You got a Cody Beacon. Indri Saverdra. We covered him before. I heard him before. I watched him before. Indri Saverdra versus Mikkel Nielsen.
You've got Shannon O'Connell's young bloke, Cooper O'Connell, fighting on his debut.
Yeah, he's not. Oh, there you go. Yep, I see that. I'm going to be looking at that, actually. I hope that we get that full card broadcast here in the States.
He won amateur world championship before the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then obviously because of his mum, No Limit snapped him up. So we'll see what he can do.
Okay.
But yeah, good undercard. I mean, not the best one that No Limits put on, but you know, for who's available, it's a solid cut.
Yeah, remember we were just talking about last year about how they got all these dates and how, you know, if they were going to be able to fill them, but so far they seem to be trying to find a way. They're keeping their fighters busy.
Well, I mean, because really, there's only really, you know, them and Matchroom, and that's it. Because all the other, there's the smaller promotions, of course, but the major promotions like Ace Boxing and Tasman Fighters are all associated with Matchroom.
Yeah.
But actually, Ace Boxing does have an agreement now with No Limits. So, excuse me, all these. There's really only two shows in town in Australia. There's No Limit and Matchroom. That's about it.
Mm-hmm.
So to get televised, you either have to be on a No Limit card or you have to be on a Matchroom card. That's pretty much how it's gonna. That's pretty much how it's gonna work from here on in. So.
Well, with that being said, closing thoughts.
Looking forward to the fight. As I said, Tim needs to make an emphatic statement. I mean, if he doesn't knock this kid out, he needs to beat the piss out of him for 12 rounds to make sure to get himself back in the thing. Because he needs to make the world notice that Tim Tszyu is still a viable contender at 154.
Yeah.
As I said, there's a dozen, probably even 15 blokes that are already at the cusp of world titles, already have titles, and unless he makes an emphatic statement or makes a real impressive performance, people are going to go, meh.
Yeah, and not only that, as you talked about with the stiff competition at 154, he's going to be kicked all the way to the back of the line. You know, so and he may not recover.
Or his other option is to go up to 160, where there's absolutely fuck all guys. As I said to George Rose last year when I was at the Nikita Murtazaliev fight, I mean, 160 is ripe for the plucking. Fuck 154. There's too many blokes.
Yeah, but at the same time, will Tszyu still have it? I guess we'll find out on April the 6th.
Lots of questions will be answered on April the 6th.
Yeah, because, as you said, he's got to either knock Joey Spencer out or put on a dominant enough performance to show that he's still a threat to anybody at 154. He's got to make headlines, and not the bullshit that George Kambosos, where people were like, "Ooh, don't want to see him again." I wasn't the only person saying it. Apparently, a lot of people on social media felt that way. Tszyu does not want to be that guy, and No Limit doesn't want him to be that guy because he's still their number one fighter.
Exactly.
In fact, technically, I mean, as far as Australia is concerned, he's you guys' number one, home fighter. He brings in the most money. Exactly, brings in the most money. So, Australian boxing needs him to win and needs him to keep going. And he's 30 now, so it's now or never.
Exactly.
It's now or never. So let's see if he's going to be able to actually capture a title this time, because I'm really interested to see how Joey Spencer performs, and I really think that he's going to put on a phenomenal. I'm not going to say phenomenal. I think that Joey Spencer is going to prove a lot of people wrong. I'm not saying he's going to win, but I'm saying I think people are underestimating him.
It's going to be similar to Jake Wiley, because George should have blasted him out, and then Jake Wiley put on a great performance in certain circumstances. So. Yeah, I agree, but I think Spencer will surprise a lot of people, but Tim needs to just eradicate this poor bugger. So, but we'll look forward to it.
All right, so we will be here covering the card. I'm going to be here. It's going to be early for us. So at the end of the day, I'm going to pick Tszyu, but I'm going to pick a 115, 113. I think it's going to be that close. Maybe 116, 112-ish. And then you can expect for us to be doing a preview on Tszyu Bataille's fight. And following this, our next Australian boxing content is going to actually be a full boxing podcast talking about all Australian boxing as a whole. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and we will be seeing you on Fight Week.